So we are hearing all kinds of conflicting local as well as national real estate market reports, and just what are we to believe? Recession, no recession? Housing prices coming down even more or staying put for now? And what is the Fed's next move with interest rates? I will give you the national lowdown with an update of our local market coming up next in this episode of Cascade Living. Hi, my name is Scott Spiker and I'm a local Southwest Washington real estate broker specializing in investors and related opportunities. Whether you're after a home with an ADU, have a 1031 exchange, or are looking for a multifamily house hack, I can help you find what you're after. Call, text, or email to set up an appointment and let's talk over your needs. So starting with the national outlook and whether we are headed into a recession, though the economy occasionally sputtered in 2022, it has certainly been resilient. And now in the early months of 2023, the US is still not currently in a recession, at least not according to the traditional definition, which is a fall in gross domestic product for 2 successive quarters. Currently, it's a bit more in question, which is reflected in the World Bank forecast, where they slashed the 2023 global economic growth outlook to 1.7% from its earlier projection of 3%. And for whatever reason, consumer spending is down, possibly from fear of an unclear economic future. But there was a recent survey that came out of the University of Michigan where they measured consumer sentiment, which came back really low, with the general public's attitude being pretty pessimistic for now. Existing national home sales are down 0.7, that's 0.7 in January, the 12th straight month of decline. The South and West regions registered increases, while the East and Midwest experienced declines month over month. All regions recorded year-over-year declines, and all of this is according to the National Association of Realtors. And nationally, month-over-month, existing home sales prices have flattened and are roughly 11% lower than the recorded high in June. Moderating mortgage rates could be creating cautious optimism that the embattled national housing market may have hit bottom, some say. A quote from Lucia Makakani in a Reuters article dated January 20th stated, average mortgage rates dropped to 6.15% the week ending January 19th, their lowest level since September. As a result, prices in certain areas remain high because buyer activity has actually started to pick up again from the slight dip in mortgage rates, and inflation shows some possible signs of slowing down. But how does this compare to what's going on locally? In Southwest Washington, the average sales price is up a bit, $551,400 for January compared to $544,200 in December. And the median price also shows a corresponding increase from December's $479,900 to $494,000 in January. Closed sales are down 317 in January compared to 451 in December. New listings are up from December's 367 to January's 535. This is actually giving us a bit of an inventory bump in January to 2.5 months from December's lower 1.9 months. Pending sales have increased since December, where they were 373 compared to 535 in January. But remember, these are only houses under contract and haven't actually closed. Typically, you will see a few fall out of contract and pop back on the market again for various reasons. Active listings were down a bit in January to 793 from December's earlier 863. And average days on market, the amount of time it takes a new listing to get an offer, was only up 4 days in January to 56 days from 52 days in December. But what does it all mean, and how does this affect buyers and sellers? Sales typically increase seasonally just about after the holidays, so that could be some of what we were seeing here. Still, we aren't anywhere close to a balanced market, so even with over 2 months of inventory, it's still a significant seller's market. It's much better than the previous few years of chaos, as buyers currently have a little more flexibility and sellers are making some concessions, enabling buyers to shop around a bit and be a little more picky. However, a good-looking home, if it's priced according to current market value and is in the medium shopping range, it will likely go and be sold in a little less than average days on market. That's less than 60 days. Of course, this also depends on the neighborhood and market appeal. That's where accurate market analysis of your property and outstanding visuals, as well as strong staging, make a huge difference. When homes sit on the market a little longer and buyers are able to shop around some, initial impressions are critical. Statistically, the first 45 days on market are the most important because that's when most of the buyers are going to see your listing, your home for sale. After that, interest falls off significantly, and if you're on the market for more than 60 days, you'll likely be looking at a price reduction and/or a much longer time on market. The right price and attractive marketing are more important now than ever. Then there are interest rates, where opinions vary widely. Locally, we are looking at 6.37 for a 30-year fixed and about 5.65 for a 15-year fixed or thereabouts. Where we will see this going is a matter of debate, and finally, and really depends on what the Fed does. Depending on the varied scenarios, speculations range from hitting the mid-fives to going possibly as high as 9%, if you can believe that. Key factors figuring into that narrative are what happens with inflation, where the economy goes, and the current political strife over the national debt limit. Keep in mind, since interest rates can vary drastically from day to day and from lender to lender, failing to shop around can lead to money lost. Be sure to get quotes from a few different sources and keep track of both interest rate, which is the percentage of the loan principal the lender charges to use their money, and more importantly, APR, or annual percentage rate, which includes all initial fees and points and interest rate. So APR is more revealing of the overall loan cost to you. Of the more positive predictions, many expect that the 30-year mortgage rates will end in 2023 somewhere between the low to mid-fives. Keep in mind, it's really hard to predict the market, and while investors might affordably be able to wait for better interest rates, most folks relocating for jobs, family, or better schooling won't necessarily have that option. And locally in Vancouver and the Southwest Washington region, we are seeing prices starting to rise a bit with some increased competition among buyers. This will, of course, again, become more intense once rates drop a point or two. So if you're someone who doesn't like battling over median priced homes, dreading the multiple offers sent in before they finally get one accepted, it could be a more sane time to get into the market. But that is unknown with interest rates and where they might go. And it's also really up to each individual buyer and their unique needs. I also looked at a few data points for the Southwest Washington region, comparing 2023 to 2022, January through January. The average sale price has decreased 0.3% from $533,100 to $551,400, with almost all of that coming after June. In the same comparison, the median sales price has decreased 1% from $500,000 to $494,000. This doesn't mean there weren't some bigger fluctuations. I definitely saw price drops of 10 to 15% on homes that didn't get the price right from the get-go. And finally, the Federal Reserve went ahead with a 0.25 increase to the federal funds rate after its last concluded meeting in February 1st. Although this marks the 8th consecutive increase, it's also the smallest since March of last year. So if you like these videos, give the channel a thumbs up. To stay up to date on my latest offerings, hit the subscribe button and poke that notification bell. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next episode of Cascade Living.